Hello everybody, Hellcracks here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere 294 episode. Alright, today we're going to talk about the Enfield, a 50-ton mech. It's a 580, has Indo Steel XL engine, 11 double heat sinks, has 169 points of armor. I think that's maxed out. And it has a preful of interesting weapons, which it's like taking a hunchback and then speeding it up and then giving it a different cannon. We have an LBX-10. All right, I can get behind that. I don't mind an LBX-10. It has a case, and while the LBX is in the right arm, you got the case in the right torso. We got the left arm has a large pulse laser. Okay. Keeping everything short range, I guess. And the left arm, we have a medium laser. Center torso, we have a medium laser. Center torso, a small laser. And then we have 2 tons of ammo, 1 solid, 1 cluster, in the right torso with that case. The case of, well, it's like one of these designs where they know the mech is going to die quickly, die a horrible death because it has XL engines. And they put all the weapons in the arms. Because typically, if you put, seems like 9 times out of 10 when you have all the weapons in the arms are one of the first things to go along with the torso, and you're denuding it of all of its weapons. But if you got XL engines in the torsos, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because your life expectancy is about half of what a standard mech with just a standard engine would be. Because you can't go zombie mech anymore. So that's one of the biggest downfalls of this mech. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen an Enfield in a game. I've played a lot of games over the years, especially at conventions, and I, for the life of me, can't remember ever seeing an Enfield. There might have been one out there, but I just don't remember it being in the game. Which is kind of interesting. But when you look at the stats of everything, it makes sense. Now, being a 5'8" moving mech, that's when you're looking at the era this mech comes out, where most mechs are running around with high-tech weapons by this time. 5'8" is pretty much not good enough, really. It's like when you got a preful of targeting computers and pulse lasers and decent pilots running around, this mech life expectancy is pretty short, just to say the least. Now, when you look at it's about a little over 12 and a half, 1250, around 1250 for the battle value. So there is, to be honest, I'd rather take a standard hunchback that's a 4.6 that maybe has an a lot cheaper saving in the battle value, and then go from there. So, because it doesn't take much to kill one of these things from weight. You got the armor on there, but when you're looking at 20 points of armor in your torso, you get hit with a couple PPCs, inner sphere PPCs, and all the armor's gone. And if it's followed up by something else. Good example just in our last game is that we've had a lot of mechs that, it's like, oh, left torso, left torso, left torso. All the damage goes in one torso, and it has some ammo in there, and boom, gone. And this wouldn't be much different, because when you're looking at internal structure of this mech, let me bring it up here if I can find it. You hit, the only thing, you got a choice, if you hit the right torso and get in, you get a crit. You got about a 1 in 4 chance of hitting ammo. That's 25%, because you got 3 engines and then you got 2 ammo. And there is nothing to stop that those crits from hitting those juicy explosive inner parts. So that's one of the problems with this mech. Now, how would I use this mech? Staying around the edges. It's kind of a flanker mech. In that aspect, kind of a cavalry mech. It's not a scout mech, it's a cavalry mech. So I would be running around the edges with it, using that LBX cannon, staying out at range, which means that you got 7 tons wrapped up into a large pulse laser that is not very useful. So you might have, like, one of the variants does rectify that problem, but if you want to use this mech as a flanker, so it's staying out of the range, using the LBX, so I'm going to use cluster shots on you and just try to get those head hits or random, they call it, floater crit, that kind of thing going on. Because when you're typically going to hit with probably average 6 one-pointers as you're hitting them with the cluster rounds. I might even consider running 2 tons of just cluster alone, and with using that tactic, so I can just hammer away all day and staying out at range. And typically, when you're doing that, you're allowing the other individuals to tear armor off, and you're using this mech as a crit hunter. Now, if you had human TRO or something like that with it, that might actually be kind of worthwhile in that aspect. If you're running with the perks and stuff like that, or train for the pilots, you have that going on. But you just run around the edges and just kind of plink away and hope that you get something good going on. And typically, if you're getting hit with, let's say, 6 to 8 or what, somewhere in there to 10 one plinkers, to be honest, most people are going to ignore you. It's like, oh, you're just doing minimal amount of damage, so they're not going to pay much attention to you. They're going to go after something that's a little closer, that's a little more hard hitting. So that is one advantage of the Enfield I can see, is that if you're using cluster rounds and you don't have anything that's hitting them from long range, because you got a worthless large pulse laser, they're going to pretty much look for other targets that are causing them more damage. Now, later in the game, this might be a mech that is worthwhile having, because later in the game, when a lot of mechs are tore up and they're really engaged face-to-face with other larger targets, this mech could come in and start hitting the flanks up close, and then you're getting those medium lasers and that large pulse laser kicking into gear, because you're looking at 10, 16. It's like, to be honest, without jump jets or anything, this mech runs cool. It's not until you get it really close if you start throwing that small laser in. So it's not that bad per se. All right, now, there are a few variants of this mech. Now, the primary is the 6Q, Quebec. Now, the 6 Juliet, the 6J, now it rectifies some of the problems I just mentioned. This one removes the small laser, all right, downgrades the large pulse laser to a large laser, all right. I would go with an ER large laser, just give me a little bit more range to make it so where I'm sitting there at the 18 range, I can still hit targets, okay, with both weapon systems. And this still, you don't have to worry about heat, because you got 11 double heat sinks. And the weight saved gives it 5 jump jets. All right, so that's something I can get totally behind. You still got the medium lasers, you got a large laser, and then you got the LBX cannon. Like I said, I'd rather have a ER large laser to give me a little bit of extra range, but you got the 5 jump jets now, so you're a 5.85. You get more mobility. You can get over obstacles. If you got a mech like this that has jumping jack, you could jump. I would be jumping. If I had a jumping jack with this mech, I'd jump all the time at this target, or go in this terrain, type of thing, because it's the same as walking, but you're getting the benefit of jumping. So, something like that. So that would be the mech I like. That's the one mech I like of the variants of the inner sphere style. Now, you have the 6JEC. Now, this one here is Clan Mongoose mech. It has a AC-10 Ultra. It has an improved large laser, so an ER large laser, basically, as its two main weapons instead of the large pulse laser. Now, at Clan large pulse laser, now that would be worthwhile because that's shooting out to 20. I would get totally behind if you had that on there. That would be something that I would use nonstop. Give me a choice between an inner sphere large pulse and a Clan large pulse. Yeah. I'm going 100% with the Clan large pulse laser. All right. So there's that. Now, then there's the 6 S. And let's see. 6S is a prototype that came out in 3070. This one tries to modify the 6Q. It replaces the XL engine with a light engine. Okay, can get behind that. Oh, did I mention this has Indio steel? I think I did. But it adds ferrofibrous armor. So you have to get with the, you're taking, instead of 3 engine slots, you're saving up 2 spots. So you got a little bit more space. So you can put the ferrofibrous on. So the large pulse laser is now a standard large laser. Okay, so you no longer have, it's not an ER, but it removes 1 double heat sink and puts on a ECM suite. So, okay. This one comes in around 1400 battle value. Yeah. So now you got, I like the idea of the light engine. So losing a torso is not an engine kill. Okay, we can get behind that. The ferrofibrous makes up for some of the tonnage you can save towards others. So removing a heatsink, that's not really a big issue. So personally, I'd rather, instead of a standard large laser, I'd rather have the ER large laser. So there's that. So it actually is an improvement in that aspect, that the mech can go fight out a little bit better without dying immediately from a torso kill. So there is that. But it does come in at 200 more battle value. So you got to figure out how to make a spot someplace for something else. Now there's the 6SR, or the 6 Senior. This one has a pair of light AC5s. So the LBX tends to be replaced with a pair of light AC5s. So you're getting a little more range downrange with the weapon system. But I'd rather have the LBX. This allows it to use armor-piercing ammunition, precision weapons. So that is the one upside of it, is that you can have weapons that can punch through the armor and do some damage to the internal structure. So yeah, there is that. But you're talking a little bit farther down range too when it comes to the mech. But it comes in about 100 more battle values compared to the standard version. I don't know if I mentioned the 6J, the one I do like, and the 6S both come in just slightly over 1400 battle value. So that's about 150 more than you would typically think about what you have to worry about. So overall, there is some possibilities later on to make some changes to the mech and make it a little better. I do like the idea of being able to run around with jump jets, what you get with the 6J. And the 6S, I like the idea of the light fusion engine, which gives it a better chance of survival for losing a torso. So there's that. All right. Hope you guys like it. So like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.